Be informed
Be involved and be an influence.
InVerse friends,
Good evening. Hi guys, and I'm finally back
Yes,
here
yes.
in this table with Kuya Poy again. Kuya Poy, I really had fun watching you guys
Me and Kane.
you
Last
and Kane do the journal segment. You know, it was just 10 minutes, but I learned a lot and I laughed a lot.
Yes, Jay. And that was one of my favorite part in this the ingest, Jay.
Yeah, injust Kuya. So I also did my annotations with you guys during that time. So yeah, I hope our viewers as well had fun and
Yes.
learned a lot from what they did. So Kuya Boy, before we go into what we will be doing tonight, let's talk about our day. What
Our
did
day.
you do today, Kuya Boy?
Stuffs in as a student, Jay. Readings, as a theology student, readings, and then journals,
Yeah.
those things, Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So journal from morning to evening, Kuya Boy.
Yes,
You're a pro in this already.
Oh, not really that pro, Jay. Not really, not really.
Not really. Okay, for me, I actually came from my RLE duty.
What do you mean hourly?
Well, it's where our learnings through we learn
It's
from
applied?
everything. Yeah, yeah. So, as a nursing student, always, nursing students come home tired. I know a lot of nursing students can relate.
So you're talking about duty. So
Yeah.
referring to hospital?
No, not yet in the hospital. I was scheduled to go to the SPED, and
These are special.
yeah, students with special abilities. So I get
Wow.
to learn from them as well, Kuya Poy. So it's very heartwarming to be with them for 2 days. But from what's nice about this journal that we are doing, Kuya Poy, is
Yes.
that when we go home from the works for all the day's work, we can finally slow down,
Yes,
take
that's so
time to write and read, and have our meditation with God.
It's like a quiet time with the
Yes,
Lord.
quiet time with the Lord. So, before we really go into our next step, Kuya, from ingest, of course.
Alright.
I know our viewers are very excited to proceed to the
Yes,
fourth
that's so
step.
true.
We're in a fourth step, right?
Yeah.
So before that, I want to ask you, what's your favorite text from our passage this week?
Favorite text. Jay, it was on verse 9.
Verse 9.
Again, let us remind our viewers, our focus narrative is in 1 Kings chapter
Kings.
17, verses
Yes.
8 through 16. And my favorite verse is on verse 9. Let
Right,
me
Kuya.
read. All right.
Yes, sure.
Arise, go to Zarephath, which belongs to Sidon, and this is a gentle city. And it continues, and stay there, telling Elijah to stay there. Behold, I have commanded a widow to provide for you. That's my favorite text because last night, the discussion, Kian, Josh, and Hannah, I really learned a lot.
Yes, I know,
Really,
right,
Jay.
Kuya Poy. Their discussion, their insights, individual insights for the discussion, also gave me a lot to ponder upon.
Yes. And me and Kane's our session, it was honestly, I have a lot of reinforcement.
Yes, I saw
The-
how excited you were during that time, and I was challenged. I want to experience what you
That
have, the
kind of-
excitement. Yes, so that's why I came here to prepared on what I'm going to learn next.
I hope I'm prepared to all today.
Yes. But we encourage also our friends, our InVerse friends, to look for your personal favorite text.
Yes. How about you,
And-
Jay? Let me ask you, what was your favorite text?
Well, my favorite text is found in verse 15.
Verse 15.
So I will read verse 15. She went away and did as Elijah had told her. So there was food everywhere, every day for Elijah and for the woman and her family. You know what? It's amazing, Kuya Poy, because all she did was to obey.
Yes.
She went right. After Elijah told her to obey, to trust the Lord
Yes.
and what He's going to do next. She obeyed her right after, and then what came next was she was supplied with all her needs.
Yes. And you know what? Let me tell you, this was the emphasis of Cain last night.
Yes,
This was
of
his
course.
emphasis.
So, what's it, to our viewers as well, if we, only trust God and put everything, do our best, obey His
Just like the
commands.
Venetian widow.
Obey His will. Everything will come right after. Everything will flow
Follow.
smoothly.
Yes, that's so true, Jay. Absolutely.
And I know you guys can also relate to that. I know some of our viewers, a lot of our viewers can testify to
And I've
that
heard a lot of experiences
regarding
about that, Jay.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna introduce to them
Yes,
the fourth step,
which is the interpret.
interpret.
So what's interpret? So a small recap of what interpret is. After looking at your scribed and annotated text, what special insights do your marks overall seem to point to? So what idea do these marks tell you?
Like the overall.
Overall.
What does it tell
from
you?
What you did last night for the inges part.
Yes.
So what idea was it pointing to?
Oh, last night I emphasized the cake and bread.
Yeah.
The perspective. It's a matter of perspective. That was this. The prophet Elijah, for him it was just a piece of bread, but for the widow,
That insight was also new to me, Kuya Poy. I
Really?
learned a lot from what you said.
yes, and that's the thing. That's the insight there. How about you, Jay?
With me, I encircled the words Zarephath and widow. Zarephath and
So
they were repeated twice in the passage. So they're just simple words, right? They may have not when we first read the passage, we can see the whole significance of it,
Yes,
right?
that's
if we just read it from the surface. But what's good thing about InVerse is when we dwell into the words, everything can point into an idea, or everything can have a meaning, right? So for me, and my own understanding of what this thing is pointing to is that when you Kuya Kian last night mentioned about irony, right?
Yes.
So the widow mentioned twice here in the passage, also who came from Zarephath. No, it's the irony right there. So I'll just repeat what Kuya Kian said. The irony. The widow was known for, like during the famine, they were, they don't have enough.
Widows in the ancient times, Jay, they cannot provide.
Yes.
That's why this is my favorite text. Remember? I said, verse 9. Again, let me repeat.
Yes.
God said, I have commanded a widow. He told Elijah, I have commanded a widow there to provide for you. Go there.
Yes.
Widow cannot provide.
Yes.
Honestly.
The irony between the
That's
two
why
words,
it's ironic.
right?
Yeah.
So I also underlined the phrase directed a widow. So yes, God chose the widow, right? Who came from Zarephath at that. So everything can seem, they wouldn't match. There's the puzzle won't fit, right? So we when we came to realize that the puzzle don't fit, that's when God comes in.
Yes.
So what's amazing is that when everything, when we experience in our daily, in our lives, when we're down to experience those moments na we don't understand what's going on, everything doesn't seem to match, and everything don't make sense. But when we ask God to enter, when God enters the situation, everything becomes clear.
Yes.
And everything will make sense. So that's why that's the idea
All right.
that I think that I've interpreted from this annotations that I did from the inges last night.
And you know what, Jay? It doesn't make sense. You know what's not making sense?
What?
When God commanded Elijah to go to a Gentile city, this Sidon.
True.
You know what? It doesn't make sense, Jay, because before in the brook, he was fed there by God. God was giving provisions
By
there.
ravens, right?
Yes, from ravens. Those are impossible things already. Those are impossible.
True.
Imagine, and now God is telling Elijah, go to a place to a widow.
Yeah.
And Elijah wasn't thinking, oh, Lord, no, I won't go because widow cannot provide. No, Elijah, I really appreciate the faith of Elijah.
Yeah, he didn't even doubt.
Yes,
He didn't have second thoughts.
He didn't even say, Lord, are you sure? You know?
Yeah, for me, if I was in his shoes, I would really doubt him. Lord, I am already fed here. Why would I go there?
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
That's so true, Jay. And that's why this is my favorite passage. Text, verse
Yes. 9. So I know our viewers as well have different insights on how they understand the text, on their basing from their annotations. They also have different perspectives.
And they have different favorite texts here.
Yes, of course. So what's nice about here is that we get to discuss and learn from each other.
Yes.
So I hope you guys are also learning from what we
And
have.
hoping that we can also hear their side, Jay.
Of course. So, guys, we're encouraging you again to share with us your
Yes.
experience and what things have you learned also.
How will they share it, Jay? Through
Of course, through our social media and also by using the hashtag InVerse Philippines God First. So, yeah. So,
questions.
few minutes from where we started and I'm already learning a lot.
Yes, Jay.
Kuya Boy.
Even from the last night, the discussion, it was it was a wholesome one.
Yes, of course. So, yeah, one thing also that I've learned from when we were discussing prior to shooting this, Ma'am Carthy mentioned
Yes.
that there's we can relate the widow to the ravens. Ravens are not the best kind of birds, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they were not like the doves, they were recognized. But widows, they were not at the top of the society,
Yes,
right? But they were used by God. They were used by God to feed.
And this tells
Elijah.
us something.
Yes, Kuya.
This tells us something.
I know, right?
God can provide in any means.
Yes, and He can use anyone
Yes.
to be as His instrument,
To channel His blessing, Jay.
Yes. So,
Interpret.
what more can you say about this interpret part?
You know what,
Boy?
Jay? This widow, just like what Brother Kian, I really learned from their discussion. Like what Brother Kian said, the widow was more an Israelite than the people who are in Israel.
Yes. Yeah. I heard you mention that.
Yes, because the way she acted, Jay, the way she responded to the commands of Prophet Elijah, it was really out of faith, just like what me and Cain talk about.
Opposite to what the Israelites were doing at this time, right? They were the chosen people but they did not believe in Elijah or to God.
And you know what, Jay? These people were called Israel. These are chosen by God. But in Israel that time, if you look at in the history, because that's why Elijah went to the brook, because they wanted to kill Elijah.
Yes, the prophet
They're
of God.
not bringing the name of being an Israel, a chosen people of God. You know what does this tell us, Jay? Sometimes we bring the name of being a Christian, but in our characters, in our daily lives, in our actions, the way we speak,
we do not
the way
represent
we
God.
treat other
Others.
people.
Yes, we do not represent God.
Yes, I think that this is what this narrative also emphasizes, how we treat strangers.
Yes, that as well.
And Jay, I'm so really into talking,
No problem, Kuya Koy. I'm into listening as well.
Yes, and with this widow, Jay, where was it? This widow, the way she responded, it was really out of faith when she used the word as the Lord your God lives. And if you look at the narrative, verse 9, it says, I have commanded a widow there to provide for you. I was thinking, did God had a conversation with the widow?
Yeah.
Because he was saying to Elijah, I had commanded a widow. So
Did he really command a widow?
the Bible was silent. I don't know, the Bible was silent, but I think so.
Yes, it
I think
raises
so.
questions in us, right?
Yes, Jay.
So, Yeah, that's also one point, right, Kepoy, that we've noticed here while reading the text.
Yes.
So,
Wait, I think it's not just interpret, Jay, right? That will be dealing tonight. Not just interpret.
what also, Kuya?
Also, the fifth eye.
But the fifth eye is
Inspect.
So,
Yes.
guys, I hope you remember what we'll be doing in inspect. So after interpreting, the next step is to inspect what relations. What's the relationship do the following verses have with the primary passage? Our primary passage is in First Kings.
It's going
right?
through other verses, and how does this relate to our
Yes.
primary passage?
Of course, like what we mentioned from our first episode, how does these other verses correlate with our, support our main text for this week?
Yes, Jay.
So we'll get to view other verses as well. So this is getting interesting.
Yes, Jay.
Wider scope studying. So, Kuya Poy, what first verse are we going to read?
Let me have this. Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 10 through 17. 11 of Deuteronomy, verse 10 through 17. Let me read it, Jay. For the land, verse 10, for the land into which you are entering to possess it is not like the land of Egypt from which you came, where you used to sow your seed and water it with your foot like a vegetable garden. But the land into which you are about to cross to possess it, a land of hills and valleys, drinks water from the rain of heaven, a land for which the Lord your God cares. The eyes of the Lord your God are always on it, from the beginning to the end of the year. So God was giving them a promise. All right? Verse 13, it shall come about if you listen obediently. This is the thing, Jay. This is how it relates our primary passage. It shall come about if you listen obediently to my commandments, which I am commanding you today, to love the Lord your God. This is the God first principle.
God first
To love,
principle.
let me continue, Jay, all right? To love the Lord your God and to serve Him with all your heart and your soul, that He will give the rain and the more blessings.
I guess this is what the widow did.
Yes,
Right? He
exactly,
put God
Jay.
first.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's amazing. That's how we understand, both of us, Kiopoy and I, understand how it related to our main passage.
And that's how interesting inspect is.
Yes. I think as we go about this week, I think we will find all the eyes interesting. I
Yes.
don't know. I think we wouldn't have only one favorite.
I think, yeah.
All of this.
I stand corrected from my statement earlier.
So,
How about you, Jay?
that's how
How
it's
about you?
related.
How about you? What verse?
Let's read Matthew 6:33. Kiopoy.
Matthew chapter 6 verse. That's a very famous, and that's
Of course.
everybody loves
This is
it.
so easy and simple, but
I think everybody memorizes that.
yes, of course. So, can you guys, recite it with me? It says, "But seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well."
Still, from our theme, God.
God first, seek ye first,
Yes.
and everything will be added. This is what the woman did as well.
Still again with
Still
what?
connecting with our passage. This is what the woman did. She made God first. In her situation, and everything was added. She was in her darkest point, right? In her darkest point of life, where she was ready to die. But when she started to put God first in her situation, everything came after. She was given hope,
Yes.
right?
Jay, I was reminded, the coming of Elijah, to all our viewers, the coming of Elijah to this, the meeting of Elijah, to this Phoenician widow, it is not really about giving or providing
Not just for food, right?
for Elijah, because he was fed already there in the brook. Again, it doesn't make sense. But the meeting of Elijah towards this widow, it was an assurance of the faith of this widow.
Yes.
Yes, Jay. Because this widow, remember her words. To all viewers, the widow's words were this. These are these are the only bread that we have and oil, and after this we die. But through Elijah, because this widow has this relationship with the Lord,
Yes.
through Elijah, they were provided for, the longer days, Jay.
Yes, right, Kuya. So what's amazing in this inspect part is that you can put down the verses.
Yes.
Yes, the other verses from the Bible, and then
That relates to our
that
passage.
relates to our passage.
Yes.
And you can just put it right there. Why you think they correlate to our passage?
And this is what you said, Jay, that the Bible doesn't really contradict each other,
Yes,
but it
of
is
course.
always in harmony.
In harmony.
It supports each other.
Yes, they support one cause.
Yes, Jay.
So in this, for me, in this part, of course, all these verses are pointing to, one idea. It's to put God first. God first.
And that's our quarterly theme, the theme of our
Of
quarter.
course. Other than that, Kuya, what other passages do you think correlates?
Okay, here, Jay, in the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 19, it says, Jay, chapter 3, verse 19 of Revelation, those whom I love, I reprove and discipline. Therefore, be zealous and repent.
Wow.
You know what, Jay? This verse tells us of God's how God is personal to each of us. How personal He is to each one of us. Just like the widow, He's really personal with the widow.
Yes. That's what you said earlier, right? When it was not about only about providing food. It was not. We are not dwelling about food here or the
Somewhat like a
provision of
provision.
food. Yes.
But it was to assure the faith of this widow.
Yes, of course. And also to Elijah. He was not only focusing on Elijah, right?
Yes.
I mean, the widow, rather.
Yes.
He was not only focusing on the widow, but he was also ensuring the trust of Elijah as
But
well.
yes, God already did a lot of miracles to the life of Elijah.
Yes.
Yes, Jay.
So this is one of the miracles that he
So
did.
again, this verse tells us how personal God is to each of us. And then, He does intervene. He does intervene. That's how He loves us, Jay. He doesn't want us to be lost or be gone through a crooked path. But God really intervenes, Jay. That's how loving our God to all our viewers.
Yes.
Oh, how much.
We shouldn't fear because, we may have just what I think Ate Hannah mentioned this, or was it Josh? That we may have plans for ourselves,
Yes.
but God has better plans for
That's
us.
so true. Yeah, that's true, Jay. That's
So-
why we really need to submit to Him every single day.
Yes, of course. For aside of
What, Jay?
I will encourage also, before we go in further through the verses written here, I will also like to encourage everyone to download the app so that, you can relate to what we are doing. Actually, here in our app, there are verses,
Yes. All these
listed.
materials that we are
using.
using.
We are using the app. So you guys, if to make it easier for you, download the app and of course go to InVerse, and then you'll see here. We have a lot of verses here. So what we are, these verses that we have mentioned are actually coming from the app.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
So one verse from the app here also is coming from Hebrews 13:2. Are we done reading that?
Hebrews
Yeah?
chapter
Not yet?
13, verse. Not yet.
Not yet. So I will read. It says here, I will be reading in the New International Version.
International.
Do not forget to show hospitality to strangers, for by doing so, for by so doing, some people have shown hospitality to angels without knowing.
Without knowing.
Wow, that's amazing because we wouldn't know, right? So it's important that we were all already serving the angels. So
Yes,
it's
yes.
important to, whoever it may be, strangers, we do not know them, but it's nice to show hospitality.
You know what, Jay? This verse, I was reminded of the experiences. This kind of experience is always experienced
By
in the canvassing work.
Yes, of course.
I heard a lot,
You know?
Jay, of experiences, testimonies that while they were doing the canvassing work, angels were accompanying them. And these people who are, the hosts, when they welcome these canvassers, they were asking, there's 3 of you, but there's only really 2 of them.
Yes,
Those are the kind of
these
testimonies.
experiences and miracles that had happened. Yeah, I'm also, I feel excitement when I listen to canvassers, from our literature evangelists, when they share their experiences, those miracles that may seem impossible,
Yes,
but
Jay.
it really happened. So, yes. And also, one experience from my family I just remembered right
Really?
now. Yes. So, my father also mentioned this. Shout out to my father.
Pastor Asay.
In Ipil. Hi.
I think your father is really proud of you here, Jay.
He's a good fan. it's just been the first 2 episodes, but he's already, commenting down below. Hi, Papa. I remember him mentioning that, they weren't born Adventist, Kuya.
Okay.
Yes. 3 pastors came from our family, but, they weren't born Adventist.
Really?
But, when they didn't know those this literature evangelists, but when they let them in their house, because
They
my
welcomed him.
Lolo was fond of, welcoming people to
Yes.
their house, letting them, eat
And they're not
with
yet
them
Adventist
in the
this time.
table. Yeah,
This time,
they
all right.
weren't Adventist.
And then,
yet.
and then?
So when I think this was one of the factors that led them to, believe in, to be converted.
Wow.
So it's amazing how this miracles happen through these small interactions, right? So my father told me that Lolo continued to welcome literature evangelists even after they were converted, and that's how they learned the songs.
Wow.
They worshipped with during at night. They do worship with the literature evangelists.
Really, Jay?
Yeah, they let them stay
And
in
they're
their
not yet
house.
Adventist at the time.
This was after already.
This
They
was
were converted. Yes,
all right.
after they were converted, but they continue to do so. So I think the literature evangelist was also the instruments that the whole family. There were, I think, 11 of them, right? No. Yes, in the family, and there were a lot of them in the family. So they were all converted,
Amen.
and then
So this verse,
They learned the songs
Hebrews
with them.
13:2, saying, "Do not neglect to show hospitality." This tells us that because your
Yes.
family showed hospitality, now they are in the.
yes, I think this is also
man.
similar
Praise
to
the
what
Lord.
had happened to the
Praise
boy
the
as
Lord.
well. So I
Praise
just
the Lord.
remembered it. So it's amazing the connection there.
Wow.
So yes, Kuya, other than these verses listed here in our app, what other verses come to your mind?
Verses.
In connection with 1 Kings chapter 17 verses 8 to 16.
How about this, Jay? Isaiah, the book of Isaiah, chapter
yes.
58. Chapter 58, verse 10 and 11. Isaiah. Where's Isaiah? Isaiah, Jeremiah. Right. Chapter 58.
58?
Yes. 58 verses 10 and 11. It says, Jay, "And if you give yourself to the hungry and satisfy the desire of the afflicted, then your light will rise in darkness and your gloom will become like midday." Verse 11. "And the Lord will continually guide you and satisfy your desire in scorched places and give strength to your bones, and you will be like a watered garden and like a spring of water whose waters do not fail." It simply tells us, Jay, that when we treat others with care, we treat others with love through, just like showing hospitality to
Yes.
strangers, giving food to those who are really in poverty.
We will also be blessed.
Yes,
right?
God will really not leave the things that we do in vain.
Yes, because when just like the song, what the song says that when you give, it will come right back to you.
Yes, Jay. But you know what, Jay? We don't have enough time.
Yes.
And we hope that to all our viewers, you learned how to do the 4th step and the 5th step, the interpret and the inspect.
Yes, I hope you will share with us also your work. And, we encourage everyone to write those verses
Yes.
down and explain why were
And
they
Jay,
connected.
and Jay, I think we'll leave them with a prayer.
Yes, of course.
Can you pray for them, Jay? Can you pray for our viewers?
Oh, for our viewers?
Yes.
Let's close our eyes and pray. Our dear, kind, loving Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to study your word and go deeper into these verses, dear Father. Thank you for providing us with the knowledge and the wisdom and an understanding heart, dear Father, to help us understand this text of what they are saying to us, dear Father. Help us to apply this in our daily lives, dear Father, as we go about our days. And may you continue to be with our viewers as well. Please bless this cause. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. So to all our viewers, what are you still waiting for? Be informed,
Be involved,
and be
an influence.
InVerse
friends, InVerse Philippines friends, good night.
Good night.
See you again tomorrow.
See you again tomorrow.
Yes, of course.